Hello students, this is the second video of chapter 2 sectors of the Indian economy economics class 10th. The topics cover under this organized sector and unorganized sector, public sector and private sector. Before that, let us know the employment status in India. In India, even tertiary sector is dominant, still maximum population is employed in primary sector. This is because secondary and tertiary sector not producing enough employment opportunities. This signifies that more than half of the workers in the country are employed in primary sector, which contributes only quarter part of the GDP. It means that people employed in agriculture sector is more than the required and no one is fully employed. So what does it mean? So let us understand the concept of underemployment. Underemployment is a hidden kind of unemployment. Each one is doing some work but no one is fully employed. This is the situation of underemployment where people are apparently working but all of them are made to work less than their potential. This kind of underemployment is hidden in contrast to someone who does not have a job and is clearly visible as unemployed. Hence, it is also called as disguised unemployment. So let us understand what is disguised unemployment. Hidden unemployment or disguised unemployment is a kind of unemployment where some people seem to be employed but they are not exactly working. For example, in the rural areas per agriculture sector where 10 members of a farmer family are employed on small farm plots when 5 are enough. So here those 5 are the extra, and if they can be withdrawn from the farming, there won't be any impact on the production. So these 5 extra people are known as disguised unemployed. Now let us understand, in order to remove unemployment problem in India, what can be done? How we can create more employment opportunities in rural as well in urban areas. So we can provide the cheap credit to the farmers for farming along with the water, so that can improve the farming and can increase the production. Secondly, identify, promote and locate industries and services in semi-rural areas where a large number of people may be employed. Opening a cold storage could give an opportunity for farmers to store their product like potatoes and onions and sell them when the price is good. So this also can be an opportunity for them to generate the income. Next, we can have the villages near forest areas. We can start honey collection centers where farmers can come and sell honey. It is also possible to set up industries that process vegetable and agriculture produce, which is known as agro-based industries. Planning Commission, now known as Niti Aayog, estimates that nearly 20 lakh jobs can be created in the education sector alone. So, education sector can also be a good source of generating employment opportunity. The next employment opportunity can be generated by construction of dams and canals, which are the welfare program initiated by the government. Also, the employment can be generated in the tourism. So, employment in tourist place can also promote the employment in the country. Similarly, if we are to improve the health situation, we need many more doctors, nurses, health workers, etc. to work in rural areas and also as well in urban areas. So, by establishment or the setting up of more healthcare centers can also generate the more employment opportunities. So these are the some ways by which we can create more employment opportunities in the rural areas and also in the urban areas. Now, when we are talking about the employment generating ways, we cannot forget the role of Manrega initiated by the government. So, let us understand what is Manrega. The central government in India made a law implementing the right to work in about 625 districts of India, and it is called Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, that is Manrega, initiated in the year 2005. Under Manrega 2005, all those who are able to and are in need of work in rural areas are guaranteed 100 days of employment in a year by government. So this is the main objective of Manrega. If the government fails in its duty to provide employment, it will give unemployment allowances to the people. So this is how the government can ensure the regular wages to the people working under the Manrega scheme. Now let us understand the organized sector and the characteristics of organized sector. In the organized sector, job security of employment is present and work is assured. Workers are expected to work for a fixed number of hours and are paid overtime if they work overtime. They also registered by the government and have to follow many rules and regulations such as the Factories Act, Minimum Wage Act, etc. They get benefits such as paid leave, payment during holidays, provident fund, etc. And they also get the medical facilities, drinking water at workplace and safe working environment along with the pension facility when they retire. These are known as social security scheme. So moreover, we can say that the people employed in the organized sector is secured and they are protected against any adverse situation. Now let us see what are the characteristics of unorganized sector. In unorganized sector, there is no security of employment and the employees can lose the job anytime. They can be worked overtime without compensation. They are not registered by the government and they usually do not comply with the rules and regulations. They get no additional benefits and work, and they are usually hawkers, laborers and people engaged in the contract work. So if we'll discuss about the example of organized and unorganized sector, so we can say that all the public sectors comes under the organized sector. Okay, so different steel plants run by the government, that can be a part of organized sector, like railways, postal services, these are also organized sector. On the other hand, unorganized sector includes the shopkeeping and also the people working in the construction site, they are all coming under the unorganized sector. So as we have seen that in unorganized sector the job is not protected, so let us see how can workers in the unorganized sector be protected. Here we have some ways. Government can fix the minimum wages rate and working hours. Government can provide cheap labor loan to the self-employed people. Government can provide cheap and affordable basic services like education, health, food to these workers. And government can frame new laws which can provide provision for overtime, paid leave, leave due to sickness, etc. So these are the few measures can be taken in order to protect the workers working in the unorganized sector. Now let us understand what is public sector and also private sector. So before that, let us understand the characteristics of public sector. It is controlled and managed by government. The main aim of the sector is public welfare, and the sector provides basic facilities like education, health, food and security to the people. So what all comes under this? The examples of public sector, railways, post office, and also different other organization comes under the public sector. Now let us understand the feature of private sector. Private sector is controlled and managed by the individual or a group. And the main aim of the sector is earn profits. Private sector does not provide any service at a reasonable rate. And the examples of private sectors, Tata, Birla, Reliance. So these can be the example of private sector where we are finding that the group of people or the individual is controlling and managing the sector. Now it is very important to understand the role of public sector in the economic development. So let us see that what role is played by the government or the public sector to accelerate the economic development or economic growth in the country. Public sector is an important sector for the development of economy. So we cannot deny the role of public sector in the development. There are several things needs by the society as a whole but which the private sector will not provide at a reasonable cost, as huge sum of amount is needed which private sector cannot afford. So public sector is needed there. For example, building, bridges, railways, postal service, public parks. So these are the different example of the public services. So here we are over with our concept.